All right, let's dive into TypeScript. In this video, I'm gonna talk about type annotations. And before that, I have to address a couple of things. One, if you are like an expert JavaScript developer or a mid-level developer, even a junior level developer of JavaScript, you might have this feeling that I already have put so much effort on learning JavaScript. Why do I have to focus on TypeScript? Why is TypeScript necessary? Now, I'm not gonna sit here and I'm gonna tell you, I'm not gonna tell you why TypeScript is important in one video. That's the reason for that is because I've dedicated a complete tutorial series for that. And the reason that I wanted to address this is because I do have a Udemy course, a complete Udemy course on TypeScript. And if you want to take your skills to the next level, after finishing this tutorial series, a good starting point for you to really understand and master TypeScript would be that Udemy course of mine. And from there, what I've heard a lot and what I've felt a lot is that TypeScript is like, it's really not that necessary in JavaScript. Why do I have to learn it? Why do I have to put so much effort into it? And for that, you have to go through all of this tutorial series. So I can show you point by point, code snippet by code snippet, why TypeScript is important, why it's a good technology to learn, why it's one of the best investments of your life that you can make. All right, so since that is out of the way, I also wanted to talk about that all the JavaScript code can be run in TypeScript, but TypeScript cannot be run directly in the browser. So what we need to do is we need to compile TypeScript into JavaScript, and then we can run JavaScript in the browser. So TypeScript compiles to JavaScript or transpiles to JavaScript, and then JavaScript runs in the browser. So let's go ahead and let's get started with TypeScript. First things first, I'm going to create a file. Now, all of the code for this tutorial series will be included in this in this folder, and all of that will be included in one file, which is app. And for TypeScript, the extension is .ts. All right. And if I hit enter, you can see the TypeScript logo right there. I'm going to do a log and I'm going to say hello TS. I know it's cliche, but we have to do it. So I'm going to save it. Now, browser cannot read this. Browser can only understand JavaScript. And this is JavaScript code. And we know that all of the JavaScript code can run in TypeScript as well, no problems. So let's see that in action. I'm going to open up terminal. And in here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to first off compile this TypeScript file into a JavaScript. So for that, you're going to see tsc and then the name of the file, which is app.ts. Hit enter. And if we take a look at the file explorer, there is an app.js file. And now this JS file could be run in the browser. Now, I don't want to go ahead and create an HTML file in this video. I just want to show you that it works and all of the JavaScript code can run into TypeScript and how TypeScript compiles to plain old vanilla JavaScript. So let's run this in the terminal. We are going to say note app.js. And if I run that, we can see it says hello TS. So all of the JavaScript code is valid TypeScript. TypeScript can be compiled into JavaScript. All right. And we can see the result right here. Now let's go ahead and let's move forward with this lesson. I'm going to get rid of this line. Now in this lesson, we're going to talk about type annotations. Type annotation basically means that whenever you want to provide a type to a variable, what you do is you type annotate that variable. All right, so in JavaScript, if we had a variable like age, we would set it to, let's say 30, and that would be it. Our work would have been done by this stage. Now in TypeScript, what we are going to do is we are going to assign the type of this variable. So the name of this variable is age. What is the type of this variable? The type, we can see it's a number. So the type of the variable is a number. Now, the way that you can see the type for any variable in a TypeScript file is you just hover over that. And we can see we have this let keyword. Let me just zoom in a little bit. And then we have the name of the variable. We have this colon thing, and then we have the number. Now, this number is the primitive number data type of JavaScript, which is the same thing in TypeScript. So it's the same thing. Now, what TypeScript has done is that it has type annotated this variable to the type number. And we can do that manually as well. And it is going to work fine. And congratulations, you just wrote your very first line of real TypeScript. All right, I'm going to talk a little bit more about this by giving you a couple more examples. And then why is this necessary and whether or not you should do this. We can create a variable called full name, and we can set the type as string, and we can just say John Doe. You can create a Boolean value as well. Let's say message status, and you are going to set it to the Boolean data type name, which is Boolean. Now keep in mind, after the colon, what we have written, these are not strings. These are the name of the primitive data types or the name of the data types. We have number, we have string, and we have Boolean. And in here, we can either write true or we can write false. Now, the good thing about TypeScript is that as far as these simple variable declarations are concerned, you don't have to do this extra work. This extra work of writing the type of the variable. Because if you just take this away, TypeScript will be able to infer that type. Actually, I have dedicated a separate lecture, a separate video for TypeScript inference, and I'm not going to talk about that anymore. I just give you a hint. The second good thing about TypeScript is that once you have specified the type of that variable, you cannot assign it a different type's value, a value of a different type. So let's say I have an age. If I set it to 31, that is going to work. If I set it to like 45, that'll work as well. But as soon as I do this, a string of 35, it is not going to work. And congratulations, you just saw your very first type error. Now, most of the errors in TypeScript, they're called type error. And I'm going to explain to you what this type error actually means. So if I hover over that, it says type string is not assignable to type number. Now, the first thing that you need to understand about a type error is that it gives you description starting from right to left. So if we hover on it again, it says type string. What is this type string? It is talking about this 35. So TypeScript string is the number 35, but it is not talking about the value of that type. What is the value? The value is 35, a string of 35. It is not talking about the value. Keep that in mind. It is TypeScript. TypeScript is mainly concerned with the type of that value. It doesn't matter what's the actual value, but what is the type of the value? The type of the value is string. Cool. But string is not assignable. We cannot say a string is equal to a number. String is a different data type. Number is a different data type. That's why it is saying is not assignable to type number. Where is this type number coming from? It is coming from this age. So the age's value is 30. Doesn't matter. It's 45. It's 31. Whatever. But what is the type of that value? The type of the value is number. You cannot assign something that is a string to something that is a number in TypeScript. They are not the same. All right, so this is what this type error is basically stating. And most of the errors, for the most part, in TypeScript, they're going to be something like this. So something, type something is not assignable to type something, or type something is missing. So it's like these are the most common errors. And they're called type errors in TypeScript. Now, in JavaScript, you could really do this, and you could get away with this. And I'm going to show that to you. We can see that the age was 30. We changed it to 31 number, 45 number, but then we changed it to 35, which is a string of 35. Now, to just make sure you really understand this, I'm just going to set it to the literal string of 35. And I'm going to save this. Even though we have an error right here, this like red squiggly. Let's jump into terminal. And in the terminal, what I would like to do is I would like to compile this file to JavaScript. So how are we going to do that? We're going to say tsc app.ts. It is going to create a file for us, even though there is an error in our file. It is not going to stop it from creating the JavaScript file for us. And if we take a look at the JavaScript file, I'm just going to put it side by side. We can see that we don't have our variable type annotations in JavaScript. And this is what's called being compiled away. So when you compile TypeScript to JavaScript, all the type annotations, all the type features, they're going to be compiled away. What that means is they're not going to transition over to the world of JavaScript, because in JavaScript we don't have types. That's why we don't have this colon number, we don't have colon string, colon boolean. So JavaScript has no idea about that. But the rest is going to be converted. Now we can see that we have variable declaration using var. That has to do with how TypeScript has been set up. We're going to talk about TypeScript configuration, and I'm going to show you how you can change this, how you can make sure TypeScript targets newer editions of JavaScript. You can do that as well. That's not really an issue here. All right, the issue is right here, the age. So if I were to run this node app.js, what do you think the age is going to be? The age is going to be 35. So in the world of JavaScript, this is okay. But in TypeScript, this is not okay. As you can see, there is like all of these, there is this error. If you were in JavaScript, if you had an application that required a number from the user, an age in the number part, and you didn't catch that error, you basically introduced a bug into your application. And if your application is like large or medium, it would be very difficult for you to find out where is that error coming from. The error is coming from here. But TypeScript gives you the ability to catch that error before going to production. So that's the aim of TypeScript. TypeScript helps us write better code during the development stage and catch most of the errors or all of them, especially these kind of errors, in the development stage. So when we go to our production stage, we don't have any kind of errors, these kind of silly errors, right? Okay, so that's it. And there is two more things that I just want to briefly talk about. One is, again, depending on the TypeScript configuration, we can get rid of all the comments and we can make them compile away. And also there is another option in the configuration, and that helps us basically tell TypeScript that if there is any error in my code, please do not compile that. And you can see there is an error, but it didn't stop TypeScript from compiling to JavaScript. It did, and the error was transferred into JavaScript. We don't want to do that, right? So we caught the error, and we want to make sure it was not transferred to TypeScript. Now, I'm not going to talk anymore about the TypeScript configuration. It does require a separate lecture of its own, a separate video of its own, and we're going to talk about that. We are going to talk about the rest of this there. So that is it for this video. See you in the next one.